No, I'm sorry, Miss Debbie. No, at home, it's 12:30. It was 10:30.
That's good. It went pretty good.
Y'all ready?
We're ready.
Ready? Call this meeting to order Tuesday, February 23rd, 2021. Mason County Board of Education regular business meeting, agenda number 20-31. The Mason County Board of Education, office 6 p.m. All members are present. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance led by our FFA students, Ms. Gibson Cochran, Hannah Wood, and Trenton Mays.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, recognition. Recognize National FFA Week. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Sam Knight.
I appreciate the opportunity to come out and be a part of this tonight with our local FFA members. Appreciate the opportunity to come out and be a part of the Mason County Board of Education meeting tonight to recognize our FFA students in the county here, as well as the Mason County Vocational Chapter. This is National FFA Week, and I'm going to turn it over to our president, Crimson Cochran.
Hi, my name is Crimson. I'm the president of the Mason County Vocational FFA chapter. It's been a wild ride with COVID and everything, but we're hanging in there. This is my 5th year in the FFA. I've been in it since I was in the 8th grade, since we were able to join. And it's definitely been a struggle the past almost a year now. But we're all hanging in there. We're doing everything we can to help the community and stay active in our organization. And I'm going to pass this over to Jim.
Hi, I'm Trenton Mays. I'm the reporter for the Mason County Vocational FFA chapter. As it was said by our president, it's been a wild ride, as some may say. We've been trying to do everything we can for the community. We have plans to help with the dog park and other kinds of things. So I'm going to pass it over to Ms. Hannah Wood, our secretary.
Hi everyone, my name is Hannah and I'm the secretary. I've been in FFA for 4 years now. And being in FFA has helped me pick my career, and through all the competitions we've had, I've met a lot of people, and it's helped me join competitions for the collegiate level. And through this year, even though there's been COVID, we've been able to do stuff with our chapter. People are still able to do their SAEs, they're still able to make money and just grow and decide what they want to do in life. So I'm happy that we're able to do that. And Crimson has the proclamation for our FFA week that she's going to get signed.
This is the national proclamation used by all chapters throughout the nation that just declares that this week is FFA week. I'm going to read this to you all. Whereas FFA and agricultural education provide a strong foundation for youth of America and the future of food, fiber, and natural resource systems. And whereas FFA promotes premier leadership, personal growth, and career success among its members. And whereas agricultural education and FFA ensure a steady supply of young professionals to meet the growing needs in the science, business, and technology of agriculture. And whereas the FFA motto, learning to do, doing to learn, earning to live, and living to serve, gives direction and purpose to these students who take an action role in succeeding in agricultural education. And whereas FFA promotes citizenship, volunteerism, patriotism, and cooperation. Therefore, I do hereby designate the week of February 20th to the 27th, 2021 as National FFA Week.
Everybody sign. Behind us here and up here front there.
We'll let him up front.
How, yeah. This Mark, right here, really a good place.
Yeah, have them come up there, and I'll tell you if I can get you all in there. Yeah, the people, yeah, you guys stand up. Are we good?
Wait there, we gotta make sure.
Well, I'm not a really good photographer, but I'll send it to you. Everybody ready? Hang on just a minute. Didn't take.
Here, trade me places.
Could be my camera going bad.
Somebody else got.
So you have a camera? It's not coming. I'm just not getting it.
Okay.
You can text it.
Everybody smile?
Yeah.
That's right.
He's Dale in the bucket truck, I thought maybe he's got. The bucket trucker.
Please come on the bus chat now.
Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you.
Good seeing you.
Yeah, see you all season.
Not that.
I know. You're the sand. Oh, we're the bus driver. I didn't know what she meant by sand. Oh, you're the sand.
You send that to the paper.
Yeah, but he's got to send it to me because I don't know what's going on with my camera. Yeah, we'll take care of it. Hey, Sam. Are there names up there?
Yeah, Mr. Cole.
All right, thank you all. Delegations. First, I'm gonna go, Mr. Adam Watson. Go ahead.
Okay. Huh? Move it back. All right, how's this? Better? It's hard to hear with the mask on. Okay, of course, you guys know me. I'm Adam Watson. I'm principal at Vail Elementary, and I am coming here to speak to the state board meeting and the possibility of 4 or 5 days a week for our in-person students. I have more virtual school teachers at my school than any elementary school in the county anyway. I have 1 in every grade level and 2 at the 6th grade level. Been that way since the beginning of the year. So I also have a wife who teaches virtual school. So when I, come down and say the things I'm going to say, it's not necessarily just my opinion, but it's a fairly informed opinion. I'll put it that way. Of course, at the state board meeting today, the state board members voted that all in-person students need to be back in school 5 days a week, with the possible exception to counties like ours who do our own virtual school, that there is a waiver that can be filled out and they can remain at 4 days a week. And I listened to Superintendent Birch, our state superintendent, say that he felt like it would be unfair to counties like ours. You know, he didn't mention Mason County, but to the counties that do both in-person and virtual school. He said it would be unfair to those counties to pull the rug out from under them and force them back 5 days a week without any relief, and that he was willing to work with counties that do both. And I agree 100% with that statement. I want to first explain to you what we use the Fridays for. For those of you, I know Ms. Tennant, you've been a teacher, Ms. Bonecutter. Anyone who's been a teacher can tell you that the 40-minute planning you get during the school day is not nearly enough to do anything that you really need to get done. You spend a lot of weekends, a lot of evenings doing things for your in-person kids, planning, getting all your materials ready, getting everything printed out for the week that you need, preparing all your assessments, grading papers. There's a lot of things that every teacher spends a lot of their extra time doing. So with our teachers that are doing both, and yes, some of them are being paid, some of them are not. We are asking them to, now they're mostly spending their evenings doing virtual school. So they use that Friday for all of our meetings that we have to do, our PLCs. And they use the bulk of that Friday to plan for their in-person kids because they're having to spend so much of their evening time and their weekend time doing virtual school. My wife goes in 4 or 5 hours every Sunday to do videos for virtual school. And this is every Sunday that we've been doing this. That doesn't count the 2 or 3 nights a week that she doesn't come home until 5 or 6 o'clock from virtual school. So, and again, there's many teachers that are like that. So what we use that Friday for is very important for those teachers. And we did tell them that we would make sure that they had that extra time, that we would support them and give them that time. And I know we'd all like to be back in school 5 days a week, and I'm sure come August, that would be the case for everybody. But as long as we are going to do Mason County teacher-led virtual school, then we need to support our teachers and make sure they have the time that they need to do it. Because one thing I can tell you that all of my teachers have said is it's not worth the money they're being paid to do it. I know in Monongalia County, some teachers are making $400 a week doing this, teaching virtual school. So we're not coming close to equaling what some of these virtual school people are being paid, and what we're paying them while they're doing it, it's not worth the money and the efforts that they're having to put into it. So they're doing it because they're here for our students. But so far, we've been very good, and this board has been very good about supporting our teachers and supporting our students. Now, I was here in December whenever we talked about sending all the virtual kids to West Virginia Virtual School. And we said back then, and I even advocated for it, which wasn't a popular stance, and we said that it would allow us to go back 5 days a week at any point because we don't have to worry about our own virtual school. All 5 board members said, no, we made a promise to our parents that we would keep Mason County teacher-led virtual school. All 5 board members said we have to keep our promise to our parents. So what I will tell you is if you vote now to go back 5 days a week and pull that rug out from underneath our teachers, you're going to also break that promise to those parents that you made in December, because these virtual school teachers, you'll have several of them that won't do virtual school anymore. And you don't have a legal means to make them do it because you won't be giving them the time, the ones that aren't being paid to do it. And the ones that are doing it are on supplemental contracts, which they can back out of those whenever they want to. They can just resign them. The worst you can do is not pay them for what they've done so far. So you very well might be ending Mason County teacher-led virtual school if you vote to go back to 5 days a week. But the biggest thing is I do feel like that this board has been great about supporting our teachers and supporting our students. And so we came up with this plan, and this was the plan that I worked very hard on. Many of our administrators worked very hard on to come up with this 4-day-a-week plan to where we could pull off doing both. I mean, this was a plan that we put a lot of effort into, worked with the board office on. And it's a good plan that we could ride out to the end of the year and manage to do what's best for both our in-person kids and our virtual kids and our teachers. It will work for everybody, what we're doing right now. And lastly, we don't need any more change. I mean, guys, we've had nothing but change with our students and our parents and our teachers. And if we change it now, then our teachers are going to feel defeated because trust me, many of them already do. I can't tell you the number of teachers I've had in my office in tears this school year because of how this year has went and the failures that they feel like, even though they're not, and they're working probably harder than many of them have ever worked before. But we need to make sure we're supporting our teachers and our students. And the plan we have right now, being on 4-1, does that. It supports both our in-person and our virtual kids, and it supports our teachers. And if we do anything other than that, we're going to be pulling the rug out from underneath of somebody. And it won't make education better for our in-person kids. You can say maybe coming back 5 days a week is best for them, But when you have teachers who are all defeated, teachers who don't have the time that they need to do both the virtual and in-person, it's not really going to make the education better for those in-person kids either. So I think if we want to do what's best for our kids, both in-person and virtual, keep our promise that we made back in December to our virtual school parents, and support our teachers, I urge the board to support the waiver to stay with a 4-day week for the rest of this school year, and then focus on August, getting back to a 5-day week then. Thank you.
Melissa Vanmaker.
Hello. Well, Mr. Watson kind of summed up what I had in my notes as well. Let me start by saying I'm just coming tonight with concerns, just exactly like Mr. Watson said. And we're worried about the social and emotional welfare of our students. Let me tell you that the social and emotional welfare of our teachers are just, we need to do just as much for them. Because like he said, they are worn out. We have a lot of them that have bottomed out. And I have many in tears as well. So I thought there was a need for us to come and speak this evening on their behalf. I have a concern for, this waiver. If we do not do something like that, I have a feeling that the level of education for our virtual students may decrease. I feel like with the teachers being as busy as they are, et cetera, they're not going to have the time to put in to make that, the level that we want it for our virtual students. And we know that we've been struggling with them all year. So I think, we're trying to bring that up and hopefully get the levels increasing. We are doing everything we possibly can to get those virtual students engaged. And I feel like we're just seeing some light. And if we were to go to 5 days, I feel like we're gonna lose some of that. So the next thing, he's talking about Fridays. We also have planning times in the morning because I know that's what some people are going to look at. Well, you have 8 to 9 in the morning. Well, some different things that we also do are interventions, tutoring. We're answering emails, Google Classroom messages, Google Classroom posts. Live grades, messaging, phone calls, making tutorial videos. A lot of our teachers do that. Grading papers for in-person learning as well. Lesson planning, we meet PLCs. I'm sure you guys do that as well. PLCs, IEP meetings, 504s, and grading papers and posting grades, which is, a major thing that teachers need to do from the start. One thing we were also concerned with, when they signed these virtual, now these are just bullets that I made, but one other thing we were talking about, virtual contracts. When they sold these when they signed them, they were told that they could work on these classes during the day. Okay, so they're not going to have that time as well, because they were able to work on them during planning periods. Well, planning periods are being taken by these other things as well. So they are doing a lot of after school things like, other teachers are. Our teachers teaching different levels. Sometimes at the state, what they don't realize is we're 712 buildings. So our 7th and 8th grade teachers, they may teach a half a day, do the other, virtual, or we also have teachers that teach 712. They teach 7th grade through 12th grade every day. So that's another concern. So, the teachers that are teaching 712 every day, they may not be able to do virtual work at all in 5 days. It may all have to be after school. So I know that it was hard really to predict the outcome of all this, but like Adam has said, when we talked West Virginia virtual versus Mason County, it was kind of catch-22 for me because I want our teachers to do the instructing. I felt that was much more, I felt academically they needed our teachers, but we figured it would come to a point like this, and like I said, I'm just coming to basically have the same concerns that Adam has, and I do believe that other principals do as well. We just hope that you really consider that waiver and leave us as is. I'm on the same boat with him. These kids have had so many changes, and we're finally starting to get some virtual kids back to in person. And hopefully we can get them on the right track because I feel like we have lost academically, and we're trying to get everybody on the same page. So I'm asking just exactly like he is, please, look at this waiver and try to keep us in a 4-day pattern right now so our teachers can have that time on Friday to work with our students, both, in person and virtually. Because that's another thing. We have also been doing some student one-on-one meetings and parent meetings and different things like that. So that Friday, does allow us to do that, having that fourth or that fifth day out of that week. So we're just asking, to help those teachers along in our schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay, I guess I skipped part of one to get to that.
Did you have another delegation? I don't know if they were here to sign up from.
Anybody else? Y'all want to sign up to speak?
I got stuff like this, you all don't care to listen.
We'll listen to it.
My name's Regan Brown, that's my wife Morgan. My biggest thing, I'm just curious, is what's going on with the whole, getting out of school at 1:15 still? Why is that? Why does it make a difference 2 hours? It screws up the whole day. My wife lost her job, she had to quit going to school. It's making it tough. And I'm wondering why there's still a 2-hour discrepancy in the afternoon, why he comes home at 2 instead of 4. That kind of screws up the whole afternoon. What's up with all this?
Because we're still doing the 2 bus runs.
That's where it's the 2 bus runs.
I'm fairly good with the 4-day thing, but I still think, 5 days a week will be better. And I don't even know if our son's even been in school 25 days. That's a little bit ridiculous to me. And I don't get what I'm paying taxes for, because I don't get paid to teach. I got a job, and man, her's having a hard time teaching him. He's not learning. As a matter of fact, he's failing. And I'm afraid he's gonna repeat the 3rd grade over again. And I don't like it. That's why I'm here tonight. Because I feel like these kids have lost a year. And I'm wondering why I'm paying taxes if nobody's gonna teach. It's just, they don't go to school. I mean, finally, we're going to school a little bit, but the weather. One other thing I don't understand is everybody wants to go by the CDC guidelines. CDC says kids can go back to school. Why ain't anybody following? I mean, somebody tell me this stuff.
And I feel like we are following it. Of course, we can't help the weather. I mean, under your question about the 2-hour discrepancies, because we're still doing an elementary bus run and then a separate secondary bus run, just to try to keep those numbers down.
All right.
CDC recommendations say no more than like 25 people in a room. So for me, a bus is kind of the same as a classroom, only much smaller. And so to try to follow and keep in mind with those guidelines, we're trying to keep the numbers on the buses down. And that's the reason for those 2 separate bus runs, resulting in the shorter day for your son.
Well, another problem is his report card, there's 4 classes on there. And I only see 2 classes that's worthy of actually counting towards, going towards a grade. He's got English and math, and he's failing one of them. Gym and music. How you passing 3rd grade with 2 classes? I mean, you don't go to gym, runs around the house. I guess that counts for gym, because we got a paper we fill out. I'm lost here. I don't understand some of this. He's got 4 classes, and 2 of them only academically count. I mean, I'm just.
The emphasis for elementary and for middle school was English math was a top priority set for the State Department.
I mean, they pass. They can pass 3rd grade with 2 classes. I was in 3rd grade, it took me 4 or 5. I mean, I've been in school a long time ago, but it's kind of just a concerned parent is all.
And I understand.
I'm not trying to get nobody down the road. I'm just wanting to hear something from somebody.
I appreciate you coming, and there are several of us that I understand, and currently, because I have 2 kids in school too.
Right.
And working full time, like you said, my husband works nights. It's really hard, and was, especially before we started back, doing the 2 days a week. I was up late at night trying to teach 7th grade science, or trying to help with, I'm not a math person, trying to help with math. There's really a no good answer academically, honestly, other than everybody's doing the best they can, because I think it's not just your son, it's not just Mason County, like, the entire nation this year has, I don't wanna say it's been a wash, but it's been subpar, basically, for, all of America, and I hate it, there's just, I hate to say it is what it is, but I mean, that's what's been presented, via the pandemic.
Right, and it's hard to make him do things because you don't want to listen and you want to fight with these kids. And then they don't want to do their schoolwork. So, like I said, I'm not a teacher, she's not a teacher.
We are going to have summer school this summer. Buses will run. There'll be emphasis on credit recovery, accelerated learning, getting back to where they need to be. Next year, we're looking to add the interventions of tutors at schools. We the whole nation, like I said, it's not just Mason County, it's West Virginia, it's the whole world.
Oh, I know that.
And so we understand where you're at, we understand your concern. Appreciate you being here.
I think it's just, this stuff's going on long enough. I think we're all had it. I mean, it's just that enough's enough. When do you say enough's enough?
If I may say something, which may be very unpopular, or at least with some people, because I know that I've heard from other parents, teachers, and principals that they want to get back to 5 days. And never, ever during this whole situation did I ever understand that our goal was not to get back to 5 days as soon as we could safely do it. I understand exactly what you're saying.
Right. I got my whole mixed feelings about a lot of this other stuff. I won't go into this. Just wanted to express my opinion.
I appreciate you coming.
No problem.
Open public discussion on creating the 2021-2022 school calendar. Do we have anybody here to speak on it?
Yeah, we'll go to this, you've got a few people here. Any comments on calendars for next year, the people's here?
I've been calendar, ain't had a chance to look, thanks. What do you have?
They're just trying to get through the math.
I was thinking. No, we just gotta have a couple, discussions.
Yeah, just got any
Put out what, I'm sure we'll put it out there for everybody to vote on.
Trying to get
Anybody, any comments? This time?
I don't have any right now.
Okay. Let's start with instruction. You don't stop it.
Just go get that circle out.
I did, but mine's on silent.
Get mine like this.
Superintendent's recommendation. Recommend the board approve the regular business meeting agenda number 20-31 of the Mason County Board of Education, February 23rd, 2021 at the Mason County Board of Education office, Point Pleasant, West Virginia, for the purpose of conducting regular business.
Motion.
Motion, Mrs. Carlson, second, Ms. Tennant. Discussion. At this time, we will be employing 1101, 12, 1301, 1402. Mr. Bill, do you have any?
No, sir.
Mrs. Tennant?
No.
Ms. Carlson? Mrs. Bunker? So we've been voting on everything except 1101, 12, 1301, 1402. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. 1101, recommend the board review the monthly financial statements for January 2021. Mr. Billings?
Mr. Hendricks.
Yes, ma'am. Hello, board.
Hello.
Board members, I tried to get a handout for each shall get to the right of reading it. Covering the board meeting for tonight under agenda item 11.01. And remarkably, everything's still in order, budget, as far as up the tax collection. Expenditures, same as last month. If you flip over a couple pages, professional substitute, service substitutes are down. As the governor has declared, we will be going to schools more. So some of these substitute costs might jump up at the end of February and March, but we're still well within what you approved last year. Questions tonight?
Any questions? Mr. Avery, comments? Still reading the notes. No. Call anybody? Hey, Ms. Hendricks, thank you.
Thank you, President Chair.
All right. All in favor, say aye. Accepted, opposed, motion passes 5-0. 12, superintendent's report.
Just a few items tonight. First off, we had a person here from McKinley, architect firm, to actually look at the roof and see what's going on there and what actually has to be done. Mr. Hendricks was in a meeting with me. The gentleman had a chance to walk the building, go up in the mezzanine area where the heaters and air conditioning units are up above the ceiling here in that area. And noticing the steel rafters that's up there, and looking at them and looking at the grade of decking board that's put on there, the span between rafters is 46 inches. Yeah, Mr. Show just looked at me, because construction tells you 2 foot tops. 2 foot tops. Okay, so now the gentleman understands what we're dealing with. And he'll have to put a proposal together, what it takes to fix it. And I don't think it's gonna be cheap. When it was put down, the section over here, when the new part was built in 1995, was in pretty good shape. The rest of it was built in 1983, 84, or someplace. There's gonna have to be some parts added under there to make that stronger, because a 4x8 sheet of plywood shouldn't be almost 4 foot on center instead of 2 foot on center. So it's amazing what's up there. From my understanding also, Mr. Moffett on tonight, he might be able to add anything to this. They put insulation under the metal on top of the shingles. And when you do that, it traps moisture. And when it traps moisture, you don't have the airflow under there. It causes the screws to really rust off. And no wonder the wind that we got that day peeled back some of the roof. It's amazing it didn't take all of it. And it's going to be sticker shock, I'm sure, when we see the estimate, what we have to get this thing right, to get it where it needs to be. Now, we know the insurance will pay to replace all the metal on this front side. So the metal piece on the front will be paid for. It's going underneath of there and making it right between those steel rafters to shore up any kind of decking that's used in there. And that's what's going to be put out to roofing contractors to take a look at what it's going to take to fix it. And I don't think it's going to be good. And just what I'm seeing right now. So.
Is this something that like an inspection should pick up?
You know, I said the same thing. I said, why on earth has someone not noticed it before now? Right. Even back in the City 34, no doubt that they should have picked up on that. Someone should have picked up on that. But it was not listed anywhere in any inspection.
Yeah.
And so we'll have to look at it and see what we have to do here. And as we get the bids in and I'll keep you informed as we go.
What does building built in 2 or 3 different sections?
Two pieces,
Is that just a small building, then they built?
was it the small one first? There was a ballroom over
When they
there.
first started, when they were there.
There was a ballroom over there.
Yeah.
And then there was a ballroom here. And then in 95, they added a section over here, formerly known as the bar area. Because the bar originally was over there, right? All right, so, it was built a piece, I think 2, but maybe it was 3, I'm not aware of 3, but I know 2 for sure. All right, so we'll have to take a look at that, and I'll just keep you informed where we are as we move forward with this thing.
How, with all of this huge snow we had, and because I know in our house, for a day or so, I could hear big clumps falling like crazy, not melting and sliding and falling off our house. Are we holding up, these tarps holding up and not? I don't know, we're not.
There's new leaks in my office about every day, it seems like, over where, Tammy Mathi's office, Sonia Davis, the large conference room, the very back corner of this storeroom, and of course, the corner on the other side, where they put the 2 pieces together, I mean, the old piece and the new piece. You can look up now, you see the blue tarp, because that came on. All right, so, but we'll look at it, we'll see where we're at, what we have to do to go forward, and maybe it's I hate to say a 2-piece thing, where you do one side and come back and then do the other at a later time. Just depends on how bad the other side over there really is. Our wind comes from this side over here, we are blockable in by the hill right there. Second item on here I have, I'm gonna ask for in the meetings, a rip and transfer hearing meeting to be added. An easy place to put it would be March 23rd. We can set it at 4 p.m. before the regular meeting on March 23rd, if that will work for you. But I really need a date tonight because we need to send out the letters, and I can't send the letter out until I know the date of the hearing. All right, so just a possibility to look at. I'll tell you now, looking strictly at the elementary side, just where enrollment is down on the elementary side. We really haven't dropped much on the secondary side. If anything, I think Bahama and Pleasant actually picked up a little bit of enrollment. Hannon is down a little bit, but across the board on the elementary side is where we've lost students. And looking at the elementary side, we'll be looking at, for RIFs, possibly 6 positions on the professional side, 2 on the service. And I know right now because of retirements, because of positions for holding, at least 5 of those will have positions somewhere in the county. Okay, that's for sure. And it may be all 6 by the time we're said and done. And on transfers, it's 6 and 2 there also. Of course, transfers automatically have a job somewhere in the county. All right, that's the kind of numbers we're looking at right now. Based upon what we know here, they all could ask for a hearing. If that's the case, we may have to move the date earlier in the day. I hate to say that, or just to shorten them, depending on the numbers. And of course, we've had times when we schedule this meeting and no one shows up for a hearing. But I have to have the date because the letters will go out. I'm looking to get them out on March 5th.
We'll probably know before the meeting if nobody's coming.
Yeah, well, we can always cancel a meeting if we don't have it. That's correct.
So it's going to be an amendment. So I'm going to make a motion that that's a regular meeting.
That's at 13:01.
That we make it March 23rd, 4 p.m.
Second.
Everybody's
Okay.
And Ms. Costa seconded.
I got you.
I mean, you have to check your calendars, but that's, he's going to send it out.
Mr. Billings, you were earlier that
Just have to have 3
on
meetings.
Tuesday. Okay, good deal.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to add a meeting on March 23rd, 4 p.m., a special meeting. All in favor, say aye. Aye, opposed, motion passes 5-0. We'll keep on going before we vote on the main motion because I think that's several meetings to have.
The only other thing I have with the superintendent's report is the legislative session. There's several items coming through with education. Wow. It seems like, I hate to say, but I will say, like an attack on public education. The charter schools, with educational savings accounts, and types of things that's listed there. And it looks like all those things are moving forward. If you had a chance to listen to the state board meeting today, there was a discussion from about 10:30 to 12 that specifically talked about these. And the one I didn't think it would take very long. The discussion went on, felt like an hour. All right, but there's a lot of things going on in the legislature right now. And we'll see where they go. That's all I have for the superintendent.
Yeah, I did that.
I don't know,
I was thinking that,
you already got it on there, you already got it in, I already got it.
we
on
didn't
there.
vote on there, so we'll leave. It's okay. That all in the superintendent's report. Okay.
Yeah, that's
I'd
all.
just like to say that I'd like to see us get moving on this roof. Because I'm worried that if we don't take care of that, we're gonna have ceilings caving in and cost us even more money. I'd like to see that move as quickly as possible.
So the gentleman was here yesterday, so he knows what we need, he got some measurements, he
I mean, we're
took-
gonna have to pay it one way or the other, so.
Mr. Cole,
Yes, sir.
in the meetings that you've had talking about the legislation that's being proposed, or looks like maybe going forward, just in your opinion, which we know the charters have been on the books for a while or in discussion, the ESAs or the home scholarships have been out there. Do you feel that with this pandemic, that this has kind of opened the doors more for them to push this?
In my personal opinion, yes. With the restrictions of individuals that can attend the Capitol, that attend the individual sessions in the past, I have been in meetings, I have been in educational session meetings on the House side, the Senate side, I've been on the BN there as an observer. There's nobody there now doing that. And that's scary, and it is, I mean, that's my personal opinion, okay?
That's all that.
So, yes, sir.
And what they do, when does it take effect?
Well, depending upon which one and what, the one with the higher ed degree, if you get a master's and it's not in the field, would take place, I think it's 2023, and everyone's grandfathered into there, but from there moving forward, of course, if I was in an educational meeting, I would be saying, okay, I understand that you try to make the person a better teacher. If I was a science teacher, I got a master's in science education, but help me. But that means that there's probably going to be less people going into leadership studies, and you're going to come down the road that there's not going to be anybody with a master's in administration. They can step in as a principal, vice principal, superintendent, wherever. It's going to cause problems in the long run down the road. Okay, so it's nice to have it and the person teaching in field help them. But I know when I come through school, I want to be more marketable. That's why I've got my science education. And then on my master's side of the education administration, because of you. And it gave me another leeway. I mean, more things I could possibly do. So, yeah.
That's kind of what we're looking on. I don't think it'll sit back and let them keep doing what they're doing with that.
I think too, they're watering it down on how to be a teacher. You don't even have to take education classes and be an education major now.
And instead of
That's
standing,
concerning.
up the place and making it, the pay and the insurance and everything, make you want to do it, they're kind of beating us down and then saying, anybody can do it.
Well, and it's gonna be to the point now because of how things are progressing, people are gonna be leaving, that we're gonna have to be able to just take whatever we can find to fill the classroom. I mean, I think that's the way it's heading, unfortunately, I hate it, but.
Well, I feel that's the way that what charter schools, that's gonna do, because it's gonna be poor in public schools, and the people who have money could be where they want to in school. I think that's a problem. Our people we've got in office don't feel that way.
But as of right now, with the charter schools, it still goes through us, but if they don't,
If it's known to us that they have a special charter school board is going to be
who would
established,
appeal to that? Whoever's trying to.
whoever's trying to put the charter school in will appeal to that, and if it does not pass through the special charter school board, they can appeal to the state board. So there will be an appeal process, but if you put a board and they're specific for charter schools, are they going to turn it down? I don't know the answer to that question. I mean, I'll turn any of it. I don't know.
They're covering all the things.
Yeah, and nobody can be there to see it, hear it, or,
That's terrible.
okay. Is that enough for everybody, ready to go on?
Are we still, I feel like we kind of jumped around a little bit. Were there more meetings we needed to have?
Yeah, we do. We
And then
we
we're
went
gonna
forward,
skip on the
on the
six.
superintendent's meeting, he went forward.
Oh,
okay,
okay.
amendment. So now we're at 1301.
I turned the page, but it's talking, it's like, 1301. Special statutory business meeting, March 9th, 2021, Ashton Elementary School, 5:45 PM. Special regular business meeting, March 9th, 2021, Ashton Elementary, 6 PM. Regular business meeting, March 23rd, 2021, Mason County Board of Education, up to 6 PM. And I guess, do we need to do that again?
You need a motion here for the main part.
Well, I know, but you already
We're
done
gonna
it.
amend it. You have an amendment on there.
Then amendment, rift transfer meeting, 3/23, March 23rd, 4 PM.
Yeah, you already have an amendment on there, so you have Ms. Bunko, motion.
Right.
I'll second it.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Now
We can talk about
the
meetings.
Who motion?
Ms. Bunko, Ms. Cost,
Ms. Bunker, Ms. Scott.
yeah, that's the second one, the main motion. And you already have an amendment for,
Discussion, we already had one.
now you need to add the superintendent evaluation. It's kicked around, I think, Mr. Schaefer, let's see, Mr. Bellis, did you comment today where you're available on Thursday? Okay,
Here's what I'd like to see is, and we're gonna try to do both meetings Thursday.
Don't, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't have time to read through all those texts
Well,
today to go
just
back, so I'm not sure
Tuesday.
what was
We
discussed.
have to reschedule the one we canceled.
Right,
And
and
then we
then
have to schedule our final one.
I just saw some messages about Thursday and Friday, but I didn't have.
my personal preference is to do both the same night, but I know it's gonna be a little difficult, so.
But if you want, if we do Friday for wet sounds, we'd have to do it early, but it's gonna be, it'll be a whole lot quicker.
Well, the second one was super short, right?
It is, because you'll have to go through the booklet with me, and plus you have to read a statement in that meeting about the evaluation, and that statement has to be published in the paper. The second one is pretty quick, but it's good, you need the time to get there, that's the thing.
I'm good with doing both the same night,
Is everybody,
if that works for everybody else. I'd rather come here once.
I mean, 6 or 7?
I think.
You know, it's gonna take us a while, we gotta go through the evaluation book, come up with a statement, and then, but we can sit down with them with you, go over the book, and then we'll have the statement. on the second. So it's our meeting, like you said, we're not done at 7, we just carry it over to there.
Carry along, it's just us, and the public that may be there, so it's just us.
But yeah, I'd much rather knock them all out Thursday. If that today or they said was good for me. Well, I mean, it has to be this week anyway.
Yeah.
What's the date?
That would be the 25th.
You got the date 25th, okay. I mean, I'll pull up here.
Yeah, it said one.
So you have a motion to amend to add.
Yeah, we got a motion, who made the motion?
We got no one yet.
I'll make a motion to add superintendent evaluation meetings at 6 and 7 on Thursday, February 25th.
Okay, we have a motion, Mrs. Carlson.
I second
Second, Mrs. Janet, discussion, we will be voting for a meeting at 6 PM, then we'll have to go over everything, and at 7 PM, then we'll have to go with Mr. Collin and release a statement and get a sense of fact. So that's what we're voting on, the main motion. Still yet, I'm still discussing the main motion, we got. No, we got to vote on them first, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion passes 5-0. And I'd like to see, if you could, Mr. Collins, maybe give us a little bit of information, and then maybe of one of the meetings, try to plan the rest of the meetings that you was talking about. Would that be okay?
That would be fine.
Because that, I mean, as the night, we're going to schedule 5 or 6 meetings next month.
Well, I know
Everybody
we've got-
might have the dates ready.
We've got calendar meetings, we've got
Yeah.
interviews for super, we've got.
Got 8 meetings scheduled,
Yeah, there's a calendar meeting,
6 on top of our
and
regular
then you
meeting.
have, from Dr. O'Call, he suggested, like March 4th to review the applications for the superintendents that applied. He has Saturday, March 20th, for the interviews. You guys can adjust those, however you want to adjust them. We also have one in April to look at. On April 20th is the third Tuesday in April, which is the second half, the meeting on March 9th.
It has to be state code on April 20th. We need a time for that. It could be any time during the day, for that thing. So there's several things coming.
We also have to get questions,
Yeah.
because I know there
We
was,
still need to kind of convene and get together questions.
right, that
You can do
March
that on the
1st.
4th, or whatever day you pick
Yeah,
that
we're
day.
gonna do that,
Yeah,
yeah.
you
To
can
review
do
it,
that,
to
yeah.
sit down.
I've got that on March 4th, to review applications and to send the candidates that you want to interview, your list of questions. So that's something else you can work on.
Yeah, that's what I said, but that's.
So you just want to wait till what is that date, the 25th?
We wait
To
till
look at
the
the other
And give you
meetings?
more chance to look at you. I mean, we can do that fourth, we can go ahead and schedule the fourth.
I mean, we can go ahead and do that first week of March.
Because
and then make
that's only a
meetings.
week's notice to do that on March 4th, if that's the day we're keeping.
It's,
Is that
that was just a suggestion for Dr. Paul. You put anytime you want.
Just let's just run, we'll come in and get the information and
Get the applications.
read it, look at it and talk about it. We may want to schedule something else, another meeting, because we might not know everybody exactly what we want to interview.
I know we've got a lot of meetings coming up. I hate to not do anything that first week.
Yeah,
Yeah,
March-
we have time.
That's what I said, the 25th would give us time to schedule for March 4th.
Okay.
Or look,
25th.
what day's the 4th?
Yeah, it's the 4th on Thursday, so you have plenty of time for special meeting. Just need 2 days for notice, so you're okay.
And give us time then to look,
If you want to do the
If we're thinking of doing
4th.
it, why don't we just make a meeting?
do what now.
If we're thinking we're gonna,
For the 4th, we can go ahead and schedule.
Let's go ahead and schedule the fourth.
I have no
Mr.
problem.
Billings, what's your schedule like?
Schedule.
You do any time during the day, or you want to do
Let's at least schedule that on
March 4th to Thursday?
March 4th to Thursday? Yes, sir.
I'd rather do evenings if we can.
Gotcha.
6 o'clock, just.
Yeah. If we can just,
Okay, we have a motion by Mrs. O'Connor for March 4th at 6 p.m.
Second.
Second, Mrs. Carlson. Discussions, are we voting on a special superintendent's meeting? I guess it was.
Be to review the applications. and what-
Applications.
Yeah.
On March 4th at 6 p.m. Everybody understand that? All in favor, say aye. Aye, opposed, motion passes 5-0. Then can we hold up and have the, or do we talk about it at the next Thursday?
We move on, I just felt like if we were already banking on the 4th, just gotta do it.
Yeah, because the 4th is really the urgent one, because getting the superintendent's evaluation, have to be done in February.
March 1st.
March 1st.
March
we
1st.
may only have one applicant, we.
Yeah, I mean,
Right, yeah, you
No
don't
idea.
wanna, yeah.
No idea.
Don't count our chickens before our eggs hatch.
but still, yeah, we need to prepare them and discuss a few things.
We have to do those two, they're scheduled Thursday this week
Yes.
anyway.
And we have to do that one to get the application in to.
Yeah, I'm good with this.
We have our LSIC too.
Yeah, you got LSIC on March 15th at 9 a.m.
Is that already scheduled?
Yeah.
It's already scheduled, March 15th, 9 a.m. That's in there too. So,
I
yeah.
really don't think that ribbon transfer is actually gonna happen. I mean,
You never
it
know.
may,
You remember,
but,
I have to have it for the letter,
right,
understand?
yeah,
I have
And
to.
then there's a certain day they have to let us know if they want to hear.
Yeah.
right, that way it would,
So we'll know. in advance.
Well, no.
it could open.
Where's it
up-
already in there?
We scheduled it last.
I know why is it not on our agenda?
Oh, I can tell you that, it's scheduled.
Yeah, that's why I said
You may
so.
not pick it up. It is March
I had it written
15th.
down from last.
Yeah, March 15th at 9 a.m. So you got, in the ice and snow, I guess. Just like, well, that's what the minutes are, Mr. Show, we'll get those on there.
Yeah, that's what I said, I see that.
Yeah, there's minutes there too, but just,
Is everybody okay with that, with the meeting we scheduled so far? We don't need to work on it more than time. You okay, Mr. Billy? Yes, sir. Okay, all, the main motion. We voted on that. We got.
no, I haven't voted on the last.
Okay, all in favor on the March 4th, 6 p.m.? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes 5-0. Back to the main motion now, this could be. We're at the February 25th, 2 meeting at 6 and 7, and March 4th at 6 p.m., along with a special statutory business meeting on March 9th, 2021. Ashton Elementary, regular business meeting, March 9th, 2021, Ashton Elementary, and a regular business meeting, March 23rd, 2021, Mason County Board of Education office, 6 p.m. All in favor of the main motion, say aye. Aye, opposed, Motion passes 5-0. You don't understand it. 1402, discuss and take possible action on the 2020-21 school reentry plan.
Motion. Yes. Just pick one, either one.
Megan Nash, Mrs. Runcutter, Mrs. Carlson. Got a motion and a second to discuss and take possible action on the 2020-21 school reentry plan.
I'll start out.
Discussion.
I felt like when we said we were gonna keep Mason County virtual and it was gonna be the 4-1, that like Mr. Watson said, that was to help our teachers and to kind of coach them in, because honestly, they're getting paid and what they're doing, it really isn't worth it. And I do see just what, from my personal experience, what my husband's bringing home and doing extra, that there's no way you can do that without having that Friday. I mean, and like what Ms. Van Meter said, I think our virtual will suffer dramatically if we take away theirs. Nobody that wants their kid in school 5 days a week more than me. I mean, I am so ready. I've been the one that's been scared to death of how much she's not learned and what all she's missing and how that's going to affect her future. But I think after I said it about 5 times, Mr. Collins finally got into my head that it's not just me, it's everyone. And we're all in this same boat. And it's already March. I am so tired of all the changes that we have made this year, that we need some kind of stability and just something parents can count on. I know it's not going to be popular to some to stay 4-1. I know the kids are suffering. But we're in school 4 days a week. I know there's kids in school, but there's also kids virtually that we have to think of too. Those are our students, just like the ones that are in person. But I really think we need to stay with what we have right now. I think what we've got is working. And I think next year we start 5 days a week and hit the ground running. Just my opinion.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and give my thoughts. And they're just mine. They sound a lot like Mrs. Bonecutters. However, in my mind, when Mason County offered county-led virtual school, that was for the year. Fast forward to December where we had the big, are we going to send kids to state? Are we, going to keep them here? I absolutely wanted to keep it here. We all voted to do it that way because it was the best interest of our students. And that was a hard one because I think I said it in that December meeting. A lot of times that was a case where what was best for our teachers wasn't necessarily what was best for our students. It was hard to try to have to pick, and we voted on the side of students. Fast forward to now, I understand kids are behind. We've said it all night tonight. We've said it for months. Every kid in America is behind. While in-person instruction is obviously invaluable, in my opinion, an extra day a week for, what we're looking at, 3 months, we're not gonna make up an entire year's worth, obviously, that way. Our virtual kids, in my opinion, going 5 days will suffer. And if this was a decision, if a decision had to be made where you had to pick our in-person students or virtual students, I would go for in-person just because that's the larger number. However, we're not in that position. We don't have to we can make a decision now that doesn't adversely affect anyone. You look on the teacher side, I think they're barely keeping their heads above water now. There's no way they can do it. And so for me, any type of change, someone's going to suffer. We don't have to change anything and just at least keep the route going down. Those virtual students, and I realize the numbers are dwindling, have already undergone a change when we came to 4 days a week because a lot of them had their teachers changed, their schedules are changed, they're having to do things in the evening versus daytime. They're just now getting accustomed to that. I mean, in my mind, and I know there are varying opinions and there are good points on both sides, but I absolutely will never vote to do anything but stick exactly the course we are on now through the end of the school year. Go for 5 in August.
Mr. Collins, how many virtual students do we have now?
I'm gonna say probably in the neighborhood of 600. Dr. Baum will be back in. He has the numbers with him. dispersed was like 284, elementary, and as low as like 400 secondary, but you're pushing numbers on my head. I don't have anything from you. I've not seen in a couple days. Am I close? Probably about 600 on the virtual side right now.
And how many are attending our regular schools?
Well, you'd be looking at, there's about 3,900, so you take 600 off of there, so about 3,300.
Okay, I have parents telling me, you're going to slow down everybody for a small number. And personally, I never, ever thought that when we promised the parents that we would support our virtual teachers and our virtual students, I always understood that it was for the duration that we had to have them, and that our goal was always to get us back into school 5 days a week as soon as it was safe for us to do so. Well, now we've had our medical consultant and the health department tell us that it's safe, that we can do this. And, I mean, we have to go by our advisors, and, I want them back in school 5 days a week. And I have teachers who are teaching in school who say that they hate the Fridays with having to make sure that they give online assignments or work like that. And they say they still can't depend on kids bringing that back, doing that work. That is the best way to see to it that they do it, is to have them in school with them. Also, we have to remember that, like this gentleman was saying about what's this about, dismissing school 1:30. Our elementary school students are not only getting the Friday in-person instruction, they are losing on an hour and a half every day.
So,
Our days are
well, that's
short.
because the teachers have to eat in the classroom with them, so that's the compensate for it. It's not they're losing instruction.
Yeah, I mean, I realize some things, but,
Secondary is, I mean, they're different as well.
I just never realized that people thought that the virtual would go forever. I honestly did not realize that. I thought it was for the duration of time that we needed to do it.
I don't think I assumed, I'm obviously not saying forever, I assumed it was offered for school calendar year 2020-21. I mean, next year, county level will be an option. We know state level virtual is gonna be around forever. I felt like the county, maybe I misunderstood. I thought the county led was being offered for 2021. And as far as like the lopsided numbers of 3,300, 600, I understand, in my opinion, like I said, we're not being forced though to make a decision to choose which group is more important or choose the majority over the minority. We could not do anything. And I understand, again, being in person is invaluable, but if we're talking about that, what was it, the week of March 3rd is when that was started?
Yeah, March 3rd.
That's 13 days, that's 13 Fridays, assuming we're not even out of school any of those days, we probably are, but that's 13 calendar Fridays only until the end of the school year. I hate to, we finally are getting back into school, maybe some consistency can be formed, and everybody has a different opinion. Medically speaking, I don't know that they've said it's 100% safe. The way I've understood it is it's much safer than it was, say, 4 months ago, but I know that probably a lot of those virtual students are virtual because they're living with a grandpa that's on chemo or a grandma that's on an oxygen machine, that kind of thing. So it's definitely not safer for those families.
Well, I had one parent contact me and said, are you going to go 5 days a week? And I said, we don't know that. I said, we'll have a meeting tonight, we'll be discussing it. But she said, well, we have 3 students and we've been doing it virtually and we're not sure that we've been doing a good job at all. And if you go back 5 days a week, we're sending out. So if we had, well, I was going to say,
why don't they want to send them 4 days? I wonder.
This is just what they told me. If we continue to have kids that do filtrate back into our schools, we're still gonna continue the 4-1. I think it's gonna be a great disappointment to parents that we're never gonna get back to 5 days a week. But
First of all, I'd like to say thank you, Mr. Watson, Ms. Van Meter. I know the parents have done that, but it's good to hear from, you all being in this, right out there on the front of it, and from a parent's point of view. So we appreciate you taking your time for that. Also, we've got to remember too, that, you know, when we first started, we started in a pandemic, that we've never seen before. So we're pretty much writing the guidelines as we go, taking recommendations from the state, federal guidelines, different guidelines through all this. For me personally, being in school 5 days a week, yes, that's where the kids, in my opinion, the kids need to be for various reasons. But also understand we're in a pandemic. So we got to be as safe as possible and provide the best education that we can. To me, some parents, they like the virtual. Some like the in-person. For me, like I said, of course, I like the in-person. But I'm elected to see the best education for all students. And with that being said, to me, the process that we've done with the 2-3, maybe I'd like to went 4-1 a little bit sooner, but it is what it is. I think we've done a very good job throughout the whole system with this. Now we're back to 4-1. I think this is a very good model. You can't worry about what Kanawha County or Putnam County or any of these other counties do. I'm sure Superintendent Collin, he looks at their ideas and something we can implement here, he'll bring to us. And if it works, it works. But we've got to take care of what's best for Mason County teachers, students, and that's what I want to do. And Mr. Watson or Ms. Baker, they brought up a very good point. And being in the hospital, you see the same thing with this pandemic. There's so much extra that's going on. And instead of that patient getting that care they need, you're just trying to get done. That's what you're trying to do. And that's kind of putting all this extra in. I understand you hear the taxpayer thing, but a lot of the people here don't understand what our teachers do. They're doing a lot of extra. So we can't keep putting more onto them because that's going to affect the education of our children. So for me right now, like I said, I'd love to be 5-1, but for what we're facing, 4-1, I feel is very reasonable at this time. So I'd rather stay 4-1 at this time. That's just my opinion.
How many students did we have virtual last year?
What do you mean?
Online.
We're talking about when?
West Virginia virtual?
Yeah.
A year ago?
2 years ago. 2 years ago. How many did we have 2 years ago in Mason County?
It was negligible. There were more than 2 or 3.
In Mason County.
Yeah,
So can we
sounds right.
completely do away with virtual?
No.
No.
So we can't completely do away with virtual, so I
Yes,
thought.
no, our county, we had county kids do West Virginia virtual. This is
Yeah,
the
I
only year we've done
understand.
Mason County virtual.
I said 2 years ago.
But we don't have Mason
How many
County.
virtual students do we have?
2 years ago?
Yeah.
Like
Like
you
zero,
said,
one,
it's
two,
less
three,
than five.
There were more than 3.
Okay, good, because it, see, I feel I'm kind of on the opposite side of y'all. We was in a pandemic and what made it okay, because the governor said it was okay. I still think we gotta let time tell us whether it's ready to go. I still support 4-1, because I thought when we voted before, that was pretty much for the rest of the year.
That's kind of how I thought, because I thought our Mason County virtual
I know we're
was for
only
the
gonna
rest
get
of the
to 5
year.
days a week, but I'm not sure anything says we're gonna get 5 days a week. Just because the governor comes out and says, that's how we got to 4-1.
That's why or they.
You know, but he
Or
just
it's
kept
offering
changing
waiver.
everything where everything suited him and then said, there it is, there's your map.
5 days would just, it would, in my opinion only, it's gonna cause more disruption
Right now.
than, the disruption would far outweigh the benefit.
We still got a lot of employees complaining because they haven't got a vaccination. You know, they don't want to be there 4 days probably, but you know, I mean, if what I've seen nationwide is out in the big states and everything, let's get all the teachers that wants it vaccinated, then we'll get kids back in school, but we're kind of, you know, that's just my opinion.
And I know we're here for the kids, we're here for all the kids and what's best for the kids. And I get that. And it's a difficult decision between 4 days and 5. I want mine in 5 days tomorrow. But I also see that there are 600 other kids that we also have to think about and what's best for them. Beyond that, our next one is our teachers.
But that's what I-
They are rounding right now.
That's what I was saying, if we're gonna go 5 days a week, I think we just say, well, sorry, virtual's done. And then we're at 5 days a week where we wanna be, if not, if we'll do both,
And we can't
we
do that.
can't expect our teachers.
We can't do that because West Virginia virtual is not accepting.
So we can't expect our teachers to do that if.
I just thought that when we made our decision in December, that basically set the tone that county-led virtual was here through the rest of the year.
It wasn't,
And I
I did
did
not
not
understand. I understood that it was during the time that we
But it was for the
struggled with
semester.
They
and
say,
that we would get back to 5 days a week. And they would absorb that
In buildings, we have some teachers that are just doing it in person, some are doing, virtual,
Right.
and our buildings are doing both, you know what I mean? So some teachers may have more free time on Fridays, where the other ones are,
Right.
doing it over work. We'd love to get back into that, but it's, like you're saying, they'll either do one.
yeah, to me, 5 days a week is we don't do work. You know,
It's not just
kids
teaching,
working
it's
five-
teaching.
5 days a week means we're at school. We're not running 15 bus routes, we're not doing this, we're going to school.
And the thing that's harder, I mean, we're all here for, we're gonna say students first. The harder we make things on teachers, like, the students are gonna suffer because that's quality of education is gonna have to go down when you're spread too thin.
But we would still have to file a waiver and hope the state would approve it. You know, I mean, if we decide to approve it.
It's because we're doing Mason County teacher-led virtual, they said they would approve a waiver for any county, said just for the counties that's doing that, then just West Virginia virtual, the answer was no. But if any county that's doing their own teacher-led virtual, they'd approve a waiver.
So the West Virginia led virtual, they don't make it every back to school.
Yes.
For example, Jackson County is doing only West Virginia virtual school. They're gonna have to go back 5 days a week because they're not eligible for it.
Right.
They have no choice.
No choice.
That's
Every day, that's where they're at.
Hey, and I'm not opposed to 5 days. I mean, my kids would be far better off on Fridays too, but I mean, at this point, the way I've felt for the past couple months, my fingers are crossed for August.
As many of you all have said already, the problem is that there's more than one learning platform. If you take away from one to add time to the other one, you're going to do harm to the one that you ignore, and you're going to do harm that you add to because of the added workload that the folks are going to have to put in to take care of those kids.
Hey, Mr. Sherwood, Mr. Watson, not picking on you, but if I understood you right, did you say some of your teachers doing virtual were not getting paid?
That's more the secondary. I don't know, all the elementary teachers on supplemental contracts. The problem that if we take that Friday away, because they have to spend that in a lot of their, for their in-person kids, because a lot of the evening time that they would normally spend on their in-person kids, they're having to spend that on virtual kids. So that's where all the virtual stuff happens.
The only-
That is in the evening.
I thought everybody regardless was getting paid.
The only folks who aren't getting paid are at the secondary level who chose not to do a supplemental.
So they're still teaching virtual though, even though they chose not for the contract?
I'm sorry?
Are they still teaching even though they're not on the contract?
Yes.
They're inside the regular workday.
They had that all, that's what they got upset.
They're inside the regular workday. So.
I thought we were saying that no matter what they did.
I thought we said we'd give them the option.
It has to be outside the workday, and outside the workday, so you can't double dip, that's the problem.
We gave them an opportunity.
We gave them the opportunity several times.
Even after the window was closed.
Oh,
we said
actually,
we'd give them the
we gave the opportunity again, so we
Okay,
did,
so that was their choice.
3 times. Dr. Ball said 3 times. We hoping that they would do
Okay.
it, but, they chose not to.
I mean, like you said, we've had so many options this year, we changed so many changes, and if we change it again, then we might have students drop.
We haven't given this sport one a chance. I mean, with the weather and, we went in January 25th, I think it was.
And then we,
But then with all the weather, I don't know, we kind of full 4 day week. So, I mean, really, we haven't even given that a
You also
chance.
have to keep in mind, we have to take testing in May, so your 13 Fridays is really not going to be.
That's really Good Friday at that point, and then Good Friday, so now we're gonna do 11 Fridays.
10 extra days is all you're really talking about.
Yeah,
That's right.
That's right.
it's a whole lot of changes for 10 days. in my
For
opinion.
9 or 10 days.
Mr. Shelby, you want a motion going forward with this, or some kind of a vote here on continue what we're doing, or, I'm not sure how.
right now, if we do nothing, is what we're doing. But if
So we
somebody
need to
makes
make
a
a
motion,
motion to submit a waiver.
We'll have to do the waiver, yes.
Well, then I'll make a motion to submit a waiver.
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second to, I guess, the state went on the Form 1 and submit a waiver to the state. You get it okay? That's what?
And the waiver only has to be from pre-K through 8, because that's mandated.
Right.
The 9 through 12 is recommended. And so even because it's recommended, you can do whatever you want to on the 9 through 12, okay? What I'm giving you here tonight is a copy of my notes. It's close to pretty much what you're gonna see when they finally publish it. I kept hoping they would give it to us before this meeting, it did not. So you're stuck with what I've had a chance to put down. And, I'm close, the words may change a little bit, but the idea is here, okay? And, for the 9 through 12, it is recommended, it's not mandated. That means you don't need to do a waiver for 9 through 12. Whatever you do with 9 through 12, you're fine. But the pre-K through 8, if we go for one, the waiver has to be submitted, so. Fine.
More discussion. What about anybody else? Anything else?
I just say with the secondary, I mean, I think we just be consistent throughout the county, and the consistency is the best. That would be my reasoning for 41 on that.
And I think the secondary still follows the DHHR map. If we're red, they go remote the next day, and I'll work with the health department on getting them back as soon as we possibly can. You know, I won't necessarily wait till next Saturday.
Let's keep doing what we're doing. The parents are used to that schedule also.
Yeah. I want to hear what was in the meeting today.
I've got my notes here. Am I go through that list?
I mean, that would, this is where it would come in.
Yeah, yes, sir. From the health department meeting today, Ms. Ted and I went. From Dr. Living and let's see who else was there, Sherry and Jennifer from the health department. He's fine with 5-0, but he understood that we have to go full one. We got to do what we got to do in the county if you go that route. For athletics, for away games, it was emphasized to be sure to keep a seating chart for the bus going one way, even though you may, you're a basketball game, they're all huddled together, they'll may be quarantined anyway, if it's positive, but there may be a case where someone may not have to be, but you need to know who's sitting with where. Question about concession stands. They were open during football games. He said continue to do concession stands indoor like you did the outdoor. And people in the concession stand, mask, gloves, social distance coming into it. Custodians, be sure for after ball games, the handles, bars, for the doors of the entries, none of those things, be sure all that stuff is wiped down, handrails, after ball games. On the secondary level, they emphasize hand sanitizer. Sounds like we may be getting a little lax. Don't get lax with this thing, okay? We don't want anything to come back and get us. So hand sanitizer. If you heard the meeting today, Miller Hall emphasized masks like something else. He got pretty loud about it. Follow the directions. He didn't say what the governor said over to you. Follow the directions, okay? And, he emphasized the masks there. For people that's had 2 doses of the vaccine, it's been more than 14 days. If they're exposed, they do not have to quarantine. Big emphasis. Mason County is on a very short list of about 4 or 5 counties that we do not have people in the community registering online for the vaccine. Mason County is on that short list. Now, even though this week we're not going to get any vials of vaccine for our employees, next week we'll probably get 2 vials. Okay? But make sure our employees that have not had a dose yet to register with the county, because you may get it quicker through them than through the school system. Let's see. Ms. Tennant, did I miss anything?
I don't think so. It's a pretty positive meeting.
Yeah. And I really appreciate the health department. I mean, they're there, they've been, that group's work with us all the way through. The next meeting is March 23rd at 12:30. So, whoever is on the call next time, be kind of looking to let me know, okay? Because we always have to kind of rotate through with 2 board members. Mr. Billings, you've not been on a while, but I think you talked about Dr. Living anyway, right? Okay.
You're saying they emphasize the mask and everything?
Yes.
Social distance.
Social distancing, yeah.
Let's go, let's open it up and send 5 days a week and open everything back up. I just don't make, I said, just don't know, but it's not consistent. No.
Yeah, but well, even at the ball games now for indoors, the social distance, you're not worried about just the parents and the immediate family and the grandparents. You could open up with some more, but you have to keep track of what's coming from the away team that's coming in. Benjamin, am I saying that correctly? Wade was said to us today, or I guess it was yesterday. Okay. So, yeah, you're opening up more to contests inside, wrestling matches, basketball games, that type of thing. And it's more than just the numbers they had before. So that's opening up a little bit more. Because, yeah, you don't worry about opening up too fast. And that's the thing about lunch lines, lunch, things was discussed today. I didn't talk about that. Where our schools will fall underneath the restaurant rule where, you're open to 75% capacity now. So you could probably open up the cafeterias. And I mentioned, I said, I figured there probably be because of that, there probably be some principals ask us tomorrow at the principal meeting. He said, don't change it. I'm talking about July. He said, don't change it. Don't change something here. Still stop and try to stop the cross-contamination of those elementary kids. You're doing so good with what you're doing now. Don't change. So that was mentioned today. So.
I'm sure, no, I sent it to, which I'm sure you've seen it from the governor's announcement in the WVSSAC. For each county that will determine the maximum number of spectators. We just want to keep it to the parents.
Well, no, it is based upon the percents. I mean, it went up to, the guidelines yesterday, I think it's going to say 75%. No. No, it could be up to 75, but you have to maintain social distancing.
Yeah, we're still going to keep it.
So, according to this one, it said.
Yeah.
Okay. But I mean, it said each county / school will determine the maximum number of spectators allowed in their indoor facilities. I don't know how we was telling the community or.
Each of our conferences too, I think we decided to make vouchers and things like that.
Okay.
Yeah, they are honoring all the WVSSAC cards now. They changed that yesterday. Before it was just administrators, but now it's all other coaches are honoring now with the ball games. So that was changed yesterday also.
We did all that for now.
For
Let's
now.
hope we continue, we can keep
Slowly.
moving forward, I mean.
Guess you ready for a vote?
Any more discussion? We got a motion and a second to
Submit the waiver.
submit the waiver and stay at the 4-1. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Nay. Motion passes 4-1. (1501). Recommend the board adjourn regular business meeting agenda number 20-23, February 23rd, 2021, Mason County Board of Education, held in Mason County Board of Education office in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Move Mr. Bellman. Second, Mr. Tennant, discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion passes 5-0.
Yeah.
We are adjourned at 7:27.